Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. So this time we're going to be looking at how to talk about your ambitions, all those big goals and dreams you have, and how to express those things in English. And the really cool thing is, our source material for this deep dive is an English learning podcast hosted by these two people, Marco and Erica.
Oh?
And they do a great job of explaining all this stuff. So have you ever thought about how different cultures might view going after your dreams?
That's a really good question.
Yeah. Some people might say it, a stable career is the most important thing. And other cultures might emphasize, creative passions or, whatever.
Yeah, like art or music.
Exactly. So anyway, Marco and Erica in their podcast, they point out that even within just one language, English in this case, there's all these subtle ways to talk about your hopes for the future.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So they talk about the difference between dreams and aspirations. And I always thought those words meant the same thing,
Yeah, I think a lot of people do.
But they make this really good point about how they're actually different. Like dreaming of being a movie star. That's way different from taking steps to actually become a film director.
Oh, yeah, that's a great example.
Right. One's just a fantasy, but the other one is you're already on the path to making it happen.
It is like you're taking action steps.
Exactly.
And that's a big difference. So using the right word, I think, can really help you communicate better. And even set those expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
Aspiration means you have a plan.
Yeah.
It's like a real commitment.
For sure. And so speaking of taking action, Marco and Erica gave us all these great phrases that we can use.
Oh, cool. Let's hear some of them.
Pursue your dreams or achieve your goals. And then my favorite one, follow your passion. Oh, I love that one. That makes me think about the time that I decided to learn how to make sourdough bread.
Oh, yeah.
That was all about following a passion,
Yeah.
And it definitely led to some pretty crazy adventures in my kitchen, but it was worth it.
I bet. So what passion are all of you following out there? It's a good question to think about.
Yeah, for sure. So the podcast also had this dialogue between these two friends, Sarah and John. And they're just hanging out, talking about their dreams. And Sarah mentions that she wants to open a restaurant.
Cool.
Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting how John responded to that. He encouraged her to think about the practical steps to actually doing it.
That's good. So what did he say?
Well,
how did he phrase it?
He said something like, what steps are you taking to pursue that dream?
Wow. That's so natural.
I know, right?
That's a great way to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
But also get Sarah to think more deeply about what she needs to do.
It's prompting her, but in a really gentle way. I've definitely been in those kinds of conversations.
Yeah, me too.
Where someone asks you the right question and it makes you think in a different way.
Exactly.
And that can really help to figure out what you want.
Totally. Now, this next part is for everyone learning English. Marco and Erica talk about a mistake that a lot of English learners make.
Oh.
They get the words hope and wish mixed up.
Oh, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
It's tricky. When I would say, I wish I could win the lottery.
Yeah.
That's totally a fantasy. It's not really going to happen.
And that's exactly when you would use the word wish, when something is impossible or super unlikely.
Makes sense.
But then, if you're talking about something that could actually happen, then you would use hope.
Okay.
So if you said, I hope I get that new job, that means it's a realistic possibility.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just about memorizing which word to use. There's actually a deeper grammar reason for it.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. What is it?
Well,
how does the grammar work? Why is there a difference?
Okay, so basically, when you use the word wish, you're usually talking about something that's out of reach, But with hope, you're talking about something that could happen, a possible outcome in the future.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could speak Italian fluently by next month.
Right.
That's wishful thinking. But if you say, I hope to improve my Italian skills by practicing regularly, that sounds like a realistic goal.
It does.
So that little grammar difference, it can help you to use those words correctly.
That's really helpful.
Now get this. Marco and Erica shared this story about Walt Disney.
Oh, cool.
That just blew my mind. So apparently, he got fired from his job at a newspaper.
What? No way.
I know. And the reason they gave him, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
They said he was lacking imagination.
Wow. I cannot believe that.
I know. It's crazy to think about, right?
Yeah, Walt Disney of all people.
Exactly.
It just goes to show you that even the most successful people have setbacks.
That's so true.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
And the important thing is, failure doesn't have to be the end.
No,
Walt Disney is the perfect example of that. He went on to create this amazing company that brought joy to millions of people.
and it all started with a setback, which is pretty inspiring when you think about it.
It really is. So it makes you think about your own journey.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever experienced a failure that actually led to something unexpected, or maybe helped you to discover something
Yeah.
about yourself?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's those moments outside of our comfort zone where we often grow the most.
Totally. So now let's switch gears a little bit. Marco and Erica, in their podcast, they also talked about how cultural backgrounds can influence the way we think about dreams and aspirations,
Right.
like what we value.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. They said that some cultures might focus more on practical goals, like financial security
Yeah.
or having a stable career, but then other cultures, they might put more importance on creative pursuits.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And they gave this really good example to illustrate it.
Oh, I want to hear this. What was it?
So they said that in some cultures, pursuing a career in the arts might be seen as like less stable
Mhm.
than a more traditional job,
Right.
like a doctor or a lawyer or something. But then in other cultures, artistic expression is highly valued and something to be really proud of.
I see what you
So there's not just one right way to look
Yeah.
at it.
So what do you think? How has your own cultural background shaped your view of dreams and aspirations?
Ooh, this is a great question. It's something for all of us to think about.
For sure. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about how these cultural differences can affect what we see as success or fulfillment. You know,
Yeah.
like in some cultures, having a career in the arts might be seen as not as stable compared to something more traditional, like
Yeah.
being a doctor or engineer. But then in other cultures, artistic expression is super important.
That's true.
So it really shows you that
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to live a good life. What matters is figuring out what's important to you.
I think that makes me think about how language itself can shape our dreams.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like if you always hear people talking about being practical and having security,
Yeah.
maybe you're less likely to consider something more unusual,
Oh, I see what you mean.
like being a musician or a writer.
Yeah, it's like the words we use create a box,
Yeah.
and we limit ourselves to thinking only inside that box.
That's a good way to put it.
But if we can expand our vocabulary
Yeah.
and use words that express ambition and creativity,
Oh, yeah.
and even risk-taking, then we can open ourselves up to so many more possibilities.
It's like learning new words can unlock new ways of thinking about our future.
Exactly.
But even when we do have the words, it can be really hard to express those big, really ambitious dreams.
Yeah, that's
So how do you even say
Yeah.
that you want to start a nonprofit
Oh, yeah.
that protects endangered rainforests?
That's a big one. I think that's where being specific with your language can really help.
So instead of just saying, I want to save the rainforest, you could say something like, I aspire to establish a nonprofit organization dedicated to rainforest conservation and sustainable development.
Wow, that sounds so much better.
Right.
It's like you're painting a clearer picture with your words.
Exactly. And it's not just about trying to sound impressive.
Yeah,
Using this kind of language
yeah,
can help you to be more clear about your own vision.
that makes sense.
It's like you take that first step
Yeah.
from dreaming to actually doing.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff, the difference between dreams and aspirations, how to use language in a nuanced way, and even how different cultures view these things. Is there anything else from Marco and Erica's podcast that we should mention?
Well, they ended their podcast with this really inspiring message about believing in yourself and never giving up.
That's great.
And they even shared a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, cool.
She said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams."
Oh, I love that quote. It really speaks to the power of dreams, to shape our future, and how important it is to keep believing, even when things are tough.
Exactly. It's not just about passively believing, though. It's about actively working toward your dreams, having a positive mindset, and taking those steps to make them a reality.
I wonder if using language in a certain way can actually strengthen our belief.
Oh, that's a cool thought.
Yeah, like if we can talk about our aspirations clearly and with confidence, maybe they'll feel more real, more attainable.
I love that idea. It's like we're programming our minds for success.
Exactly.
But beyond the words themselves, we can't forget about perseverance.
Right.
Marco and Erica really emphasized that. Achieving anything worthwhile
Hmm.
takes effort and resilience, and a willingness to overcome obstacles.
It's like that saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
I like that.
Even small actions, taken consistently over time, can lead to amazing results.
That's so true. So think about it. What dreams are you holding on to? What aspirations are guiding your path? Take a moment to reflect on those goals. And think about what steps you can take, no matter how small, to get closer to them. Every effort counts,
Definitely.
and every step forward is worth celebrating.
So speaking of celebrating, Marco and Erica also shared a bunch of stories about people who achieved their dreams, even though they had to overcome huge challenges.
Oh, those stories were so inspiring. They remind us that the
Yeah.
path to success is rarely a straight line.
Yeah,
It's full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
And unexpected detours.
for sure.
But it's in those challenges that we discover our true strength.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like those stories show us that it's not about like avoiding setbacks completely. It's
Right.
about how we deal with them, you know?
Exactly.
Finding that strength to keep going, even when things get tough.
They really highlight the importance of a growth mindset.
Oh, yeah?
It's about believing that our abilities and intelligence aren't fixed.
Right.
They can grow and develop through hard work and learning.
Yeah.
So when we see challenges as opportunities to learn, we become more resilient
Definitely.
and more resourceful in going after our goals.
Absolutely. It's like changing how we look at failure and seeing it as a step towards success.
I love that.
So before we wrap up this deep dive into dreams and aspirations, I want to go back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The idea that language can actually change the way we think. Yeah. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. Think about it. If we're always talking about our dreams in a negative way,
Yeah.
or like we're doubting ourselves, it's almost like we're setting ourselves up to fail.
It's like self-sabotage.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, if we use language that's positive and strong, it can actually help us to stay motivated.
And believe in ourselves. So it's like
Really-
the words we choose can become self-fulfilling prophecies.
I like that.
If we're always telling ourselves, I can't do this, or this is too hard, then we're probably going to give up when we face challenges. But if we tell ourselves, I'm capable of this, or I'm determined to make this happen, then we create this mindset of resilience.
So it's all about that voice inside our heads
Yeah.
and how we talk to ourselves about our dreams.
It's about being your own cheerleader,
Yeah.
believing in your potential, even when you have doubts.
So as we finish up this deep dive, I'm curious to hear what you think. If language can shape how we think about our dreams, what other things might affect our ability to achieve them?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
There are so many factors involved.
Right.
It's like a puzzle with all these different pieces.
Yeah.
Think about your support system.
Mhm.
Who's there to help you?
Yeah.
And then the resources and opportunities you have access to.
Right.
And even your own personality,
Uh-huh.
how resilient you are.
All those things play a part.
They all contribute to our journey in different ways.
It's like we're creating our own unique path
You've
with
noticed.
every step we take, every experience we have.
This deep dive has been all about finding the right words to talk about our big dreams.
Yeah.
But it's also about so much more than that. It's about understanding the power of language, believing in ourselves, and embracing the journey with all its ups and downs.
And remember, everyone's journey is different.
That's right.
There's no one right way to do it.
The most important thing is to be true to yourself,
Yeah.
follow your passions,
Yeah.
and never give up on those dreams. That makes you feel alive.
Until next time, everyone, keep dreaming big, speaking confidently, and taking those steps, no matter how small, towards the future you want.
We're cheering you on.